We're talking about restaurants that portray themselves as healthy, quote unquote healthy. And when you start to dive in and you go in, you start to ask questions, start to educate yourself, you're going to uncover a lot of, I like to say, sneaky ingredients. There's a lot of sneaky ingredients in quote unquote health restaurants.
Let's clear up the air right now. Are the majority of health food restaurants out there just really crappy restaurants?
I would say yes.
Okay.
And I want to say that I'm not a hater of the restaurant business, and I'm not trying to bash anyone. And we're not talking about Italian restaurants, chain restaurants, corporate restaurants, McDonald's,
Right.
ice cream. We're talking about restaurants that portray themselves as healthy, quote unquote healthy. And when you start to dive in and you go in, you start to ask questions, start to educate yourself, you're going to uncover a lot of, I like to say, sneaky ingredients. There's a lot of sneaky ingredients in quote unquote health restaurants, and especially restaurants that have health in the name or health food in that name or healthy conscious in the name. We can't always believe what they're giving us. So Unfortunately, I know a lot of restaurateurs that have healthy restaurants. They have put a lot of integrity in the food and into their menu, and I really appreciate that. So I don't want to say all of them, but yes, I would say the majority, yes, are sneaky. And it's confusing for me. So I think this is a really important conversation today to help really inspire people to take control of their health by being more aware.
Yeah. So before we get into those weeds, right, the specifics, what's happening in restaurants, what do we look for?
Sure.
In your opinion, is it a integrity thing? Is it someone going, okay, I know what I need to use. I know what I can do to make these the healthiest dishes that I can make, but I'm going to cut cost? Or is it a thing like, I just want to open a healthy restaurant, but I don't know what healthy is?
I think it's a cost thing. Yeah, I think it's two, but I think it's a cost thing. I mean, we're going through inflation. If anybody's been to the grocery store lately, organic produce, organic goods in general, very expensive. And so it's a cost thing. It's a way. I mean, if I wanted to sacrifice my integrity and I wanted to switch to all conventional produce and vegetable and seed oils, I would make a lot of money.
Right.
Okay. Because a case of celery, conventional celery versus a case of organic celery, I mean, it's about a $65, $70 difference. It's a lot. So believe me, there's been moments where I'm like, gosh, if I could just sub out those non-organic strawberries, I could make a little extra buck, but I'm not going to feed anything to you that I wouldn't feed to my family or eat myself.
Right.
So I think it's a cost thing, unfortunately, right now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a cost thing.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
People want to make and earn a living, but with that said, it's really hard to call yourself a healthy restaurant. So now let's go into these weeds. What is happening in the restaurant industry that us, the average consumer like me, doesn't know about? Okay.
So first off, I want to talk about the buzzwords because I think the buzzwords lure you in when you're going into a restaurant of, yes, healthy, made with love, farm to table, fresh, alkaline, wholesome, plant-derived, even vegan and gluten-free. And so automatically as a consumer, you're like, ooh, cool, check all the boxes. This quote-unquote restaurant is good for me and healthy. So the biggest thing to start to look at, I mean, I think the big thing that we're both very passionate about are the vegetable oils and the seed oils, because really that's a way that restaurants are cutting their costs. That's a big way, okay? If you think you're eating something like a grilled, say, fish salad with some vegetables and maybe some berries, then it looks healthy on paper, right? And then just start to ask questions that the dressing could be soy oil. It could have corn oil, canola oil, grapeseed oil, and most marinades, sautés, sauces, any type of dressing, anything saucy or dressing, probably 95% has some sort of vegetable or seed oil in it. You have to really educate and start asking yourself. So I think that's the sneakiest part, especially if there's a beautiful menu, it looks healthy and clean on paper. When you start getting to all the marinades and the dressings, that's where you really get in trouble. I mean, I'm so sensitive in my body that I'll go out to eat, and it happens to me still. I'll think that I just made a really educated choice, and I'll go home and I immediately feel hungover. I'm bloated. I'm gassy. I have a headache. I had to take a nap the other day, an hour after I ate, because I'm very tuned in with my body, but I know it was because some seed oils were snuck in.
Right.
So unfortunately, we can't always believe the brilliant marketing on the menu and believe everything we see. And I do want to talk about marketing for a minute, because this is another way that this is something maybe people don't know. So the biggest restaurant search engines are Yelp and Google. So when you type in your word, whether it's healthy or plant-based, restaurants can pay for their restaurant to be at the top of those searches. So that's not real either, right? And so you can't believe it. And so I know I've been out of town before and I've searched something and Chipotle came up and I was like, that's
Yeah.
not what I was looking for. So those are a couple key things too.
Yeah,
Yes.
to think about, you're
Yeah.
looking for something, but there's a
Yes.
pay to play type deal.
Yeah.
You know that I love magnesium. This is one of my top 5 supplements that I take in my body every single day. And Magnesium Breakthrough is my favorite magnesium product on the market. It's a life changer. And for me, it's very important when it comes to mood and relaxation. For those of you who've never tried it, this is your chance. Listen up. This month, you're going to get 1 free bottle of the best-selling full-spectrum supplement that contains all 7 forms of magnesium that your body craves in exactly the right balance. Not all magnesium products out there are created equal. BiOptimizers, the makers of Magnesium Breakthrough, are offering a 14-day sleep challenge. For you, the Heal Thyself listeners, they're offering a free 14-day supply. All you got to do is pay a nominal shipping fee. That's it. No other strings attached, no other purchases required. This is a simple challenge right now. The Magnesium Breakthrough product for 14 days and see all the positive changes that I just mentioned. If your sleep and energy are not absolutely buzzing by the next 14 days, you've lost nothing, right? Just a shipping fee. And if you are, you're getting things on track. You know your body really needs that magnesium and it's sucking it in, it's utilizing for all the processes. A lot of us are deficient. 70% of us are deficient in magnesium. Very important. To get your free bottle, just go to magbreakthrough.com/DRGFREE, DRG free, and enter the coupon code DRG10. That's it. And this is a company that is so confident in its product that it's giving away these 14 days worth of magnesium for you to try because they know how effective it can be for you. Again, to get your free 14-day supply right now and start the challenge, go to magbreakthrough.com/DRGFREE, DRG free, and use the coupon code DRG10. Don't miss this opportunity. This is a limited time offer for the month of July. LMNT is a tasty electrolyte drink with everything you need, and that means a lot of salt and no sugar. It contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio of 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. Contains no sugar, no artificial coloring, no artificial ingredients, no gluten, none of the fillers. LMNT is formulated to help anyone with their electrolyte needs and is perfectly suited to your lifestyle following whatever it is, keto, paleo, low carb, vegan. It's super important to replenish your electrolytes. Whether it's a few glasses of wine or working out or just keeping an active lifestyle, electrolyte replenishment is important because when we're electrolyte deficient, we have muscle cramps, fatigue, sleeplessness, and other common symptoms, headaches. Optimal hydration is all about balance, specifically getting the right fluid to electrolyte ratio balance. And this is where LMNT comes in. Again, their ratios are helping nourish and hydrate your whole body. Now that summer's here, you're going to be sweating. This is where balance is the key. And LMNT's grapefruit salt has returned for the summer. And I really wish it wasn't a summer flavor because it's actually my favorite one. And it helps keep you balanced, especially because you're going to be sweating in the summer doing all your healthful activities. So right now, LMNT is offering you, the Heal Thyself listeners, a free sample pack with any purchase. That's 8 single serving packets free with any order of LMNT. This is a great way to try all 8 flavors or share LMNT with a friend. Get yours at drinklmnt.com/DRG. The deal is only available through my link. You must go to drinklmnt.com/DRG. They offer no questions asked refunds, totally risk-free. And if you don't like it, you won't get your money back. No questions asked, you got none to lose. When we go back to the seed oils thing, this is where I see this sort of shift that's happening, we go back on all this data, right? And it's saying, okay, no, seed oils are safe. You can have canola oil.
Yeah.
You can have the soy oil. It's not going to affect you.
Yeah.
But clinically and experientially, so many people are removing them from their diet or, reducing going out to eat or asking questions at the restaurant and feeling better. So my personal experience is I know that if I go to a restaurant and I know if they're using oils that are really poor quality, not an avocado or an oil or coconut oil or something. They're using poor quality oils. It feels like I have a brick in my stomach.
A
It's
brick.
it's interesting because it's like my stomach says no more food. It literally stops me from being hungry. I get hungry less during the meal. I don't even finish the meal. Whereas I know if it's a really pure quality meal, I go for seconds.
Yeah.
My body's like more nutrients, more. Interesting. If that resonates with the viewer and listener, check it out. How are you responding if you sort of remove the seed oils? Again, like there's a lot of people going to say, look, the literature says it's fine and it's safe. And rightfully so. Okay. But what is your experience? That's a big thing.
It's a huge thing. And I always encourage people when I'm coaching them of saying like, tune into your body.
Yes.
So, right, like our body has all the wisdom. We just, we ignore it, right? Our body has all the answers. And so if there's a symptom coming up and you go out to eat, you come home and you're bloated, you're gassy, you're fatigued, you have brain fog, everyone says, oh no, it's just like the beans I ate or whatever. It's like, well, then maybe you need to take a deeper look. Try cutting out seed oils for a week and then go out to eat or cook your own food. And how do you feel? Like tune into your body. And once somebody gets a taste of feeling really good, then they realize how bad they felt their whole life, right?
Right.
Right.
Right. And which speaks so much to the human organism. We adapt so easily
Yeah.
to even something that feels so crappy. And then it's our new normal very fast.
It's our new normal.
Yeah.
It's just another cup of caffeine, another thing of sugar or whatever it is to keep us going. We're just kind of used to it. It's the new normal. I did it for years, decades until I figured it out.
So going back to the oils, I was just in Santa Fe and I asked for a side, the dressing on the side. Oh, it was a non-vegan dressing. So I asked for olive oil on the side or the oil on the side.
Smart.
And I'm looking at it and it is like clear. It's like almost clear with a tint of oily brown or gold. And I'm looking at it and I was like, this ain't olive oil. I was just thinking about how, like I put olive oil on some of my salads or whatever I'm eating and it's like thick and golden. It's actually dark. And I'm looking at myself and I go, I'm going to smell it. It had no smell. So what happened in that moment?
Okay. I love that you brought this up. I'm very passionate about this. So olive oil blends they're very sneaky. I used them in my first restaurant about 12 years ago when the quality of the ingredients was not my first intention. It was an Italian restaurant. And olive oil blends come in different blends. There's 90-10, 80-20, 70-30, meaning that the 10, the 20, and the 30% are olive oil. And the rest is a blend of canola, rapeseed, grapeseed, corn, soy, who knows what it is. So when you're smelling your oil and you see that it has flavorless and it has no smell and it's clear, it's probably was like a 90-10. So when you're eating out and you say, may I have a side of olive oil? For me, I say, hey, I have an allergy to most oils and I need to have a pure olive oil, please. Wow. So you have to ask that because unfortunately it's cheaper. Obviously, pure olive oil is much more expensive than a 90-10%. And since we're on this, I have to touch on hot food bars. I have to touch on it. And so one of the grocery stores in our areas, I went in, they got me good. So I just want to help educate, okay? Because if it gets me, I know it's getting some listeners. So I walked in and it was about 6 different roasted vegetables, roasted grilled eggplant, organic carrots, and they were all listed. The first one was actually organic roasted carrots and olive oil. So I was like, sweet, perfect. Loaded up all the vegetables. Meanwhile, as I'm going down the line, they're all not organic. And I didn't check the oils in all of them. I go home, I eat, felt like crap, brick in my stomach, had to lay down. I go back to investigate. And the first one was an organic vegetable with olive oil. The second one was roasted eggplant with olive oil blend.
Oh, it's an olive oil blend.
And then the second one was like an organic with an olive oil. I was like, whoa, that is sneaky. Ooh, so really pay attention to that olive oil blend. Like, it's big.
So if I'm at a restaurant and in that moment when I was on vacation just last weekend, and I said, I can't really have any of the other oils. I have an allergy. Mm-hmm. I would like an olive oil, pure olive oil. They have that in the back somewhere.
They have that in the back for sure.
Okay.
They definitely do.
Okay, that's really powerful hack.
It is.
Because how many restaurants or how many of us get, oil on our salad or something, Yeah. Okay, so then this brings me to this. Let's say now I'm getting something grilled, right? Let's say I'm getting a veggie burger, eggplant, people getting fish grilled or chicken or whatever it is. how do we not know they're grilling in just a big bed of something that's going to make us really sick, like mazola or
Right.
corn oil or
Oh,
something like
yeah.
that? Is that usually the order of operations for these companies?
So if you have a grill, a huge big grill, and I order a piece of fish, right? The grill is so hot and they usually like have to scrub it just to have a nice mark on the piece of fish, right? So in terms of like that kind of safety, that's burned off. And I say I need olive oil. I need my fish to be grilled in olive oil. And searing and anything else like that, again, you can ask for olive oil. It's not just going to be on a contaminated with a bunch of other oils, but I make it very clear to the server, hey, I have an allergy to vegetable and seed oils. This is really important. So I can't have a blend. I have to have a pure olive oil.
Wow.
And that's, yeah.
And they'll be able to grill it in that olive
Yes,
oil?
they'll be able
Oh,
to,
wow.
unless it's already pre-marinated, but usually they can get a little bowl and they can marinate it right there with some salt, pepper, and I keep it really simple. I don't go for marinades when I go out to eat. I'm like, I want a plain piece of fish grilled with olive oil, salt, and pepper. And I'm talking about basic restaurants. We're on the go. I'm not talking about the chef-driven restaurant
Right.
where I have friends that own that at the bottom of the menu, they list the farms and the
Yes,
farmers
yes,
they
yes,
have
yes, yes.
relationships with, and maybe a couple ingredients will sneak in that aren't my favorite, but I'm going to feel good, right? Yeah. So
I love this conversation
yeah,
because this applies to everyone.
yeah.
We all at some point decide to go out to eat. Most of us, I mean, I go out to eat once, maybe twice a week, you know? So what else are things that we need to be looking out for on the menu in the restaurants, different foods? What else comes to mind?
Okay, so one thing that comes to mind is some restaurants will put organic in front of just a couple of the items on the menu. And that can be really misleading. So, like, it's gotten me before where the organic greens and there's an organic corn tortilla, but the chicken is free range, the eggs are free range, berries are conventional. And so there's like they pepper in the word organic, and then when you start to ask questions and investigate, it's not. And for me, I'm definitely not going to eat free range chicken. There's no
Uh,
regulation on free range chicken at all.
so
And so
how should we, before you even go,
yeah.
how should people be looking for, if the chicken eaters out there, what should they be looking for?
So I would look for organic chicken. Okay. I would look for wild fish. There are sustainable fisheries that are clean, and usually they're written on the menu because people are proud to
Right.
spend a
I've
little
seen that before.
extra money to source from this fishery, right? So that's really special. You can look for grass fed, pasture raised. Those are all really great words.
What about eggs?
Eggs, for me, pasture raised organic.
Pasteurized
Right,
organic.
because free range is sneaky, y'all. Free range, there's no regulation with free range. So when people throw free range in front of their turkey, in front of their chicken and their eggs, it just means that the chickens get to go outside for a little bit. Like there's zero regulations
Yeah.
for the GMO feed. Who knows what antibiotics are being injected into the bird? I mean, I have no idea. So they're dirty. Those are
Right.
dirty birds.
Free range towards everything, basically.
I mean, free range is like
under
nothing.
under the sun.
Yeah,
You kn-
it's nothing.
I
Yeah.
got a funny side note. I went to this Indian restaurant in where was it? Mountain View, California, right in the Bay Area, and it said free range tofu. And I was staring at it. I go, "What the hell is this?" I took a picture of it. I put it on my Instagram. This
That's
was
great.
maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Ah,
I was laughing because I
that's
was like, I don't know
funny.
if that's a joke or they meant,
I
yeah.
don't know if
But
that
they're
was a
using,
typo.
yeah, they're using all the things
But all
on
the
it.
words to pull
All
you
the
on, and
words.
even natural, y'all. Like if it says, I don't know, a natural juice or a berry, of course it's natural. It's a
It's of
blueberry,
Earth.
right? It's from Earth. So yeah, those are it's the buzzwords can get you. Freshly farm to table and fresh farm to table. Farm to table, if it was really farm to table, they'd be going to the regenerative farm and having a relationship with the farmer's market and then creating their beautiful food. But that doesn't mean that they're buying from these big vendors. Like there used to be a
Right.
restaurant in my area. It was farm to table. And I saw the trucks that pulled up back. Like I know those purveyors. I used to use them at my old restaurant. And I was like,
Right.
this is not farm to table, y'all. Like I see
Wow.
the boxes going in.
So people say so
Oh
people
yeah.
just say farm to table and it
Yes.
doesn't even mean
No,
anything?
it does not. To be
Wha-
careful.
So when we look at that fine print, should it say farm to table, proudly sourced from Smith
Exactly. There
Farm
you go.
in
And then they
Westchester or
list all the
something like that?
farms. Right. Because
So we need to know, okay,
yeah.
where's it coming from?
Yeah. Yeah.
I see.
And that's just putting
Okay.
a little bit more integrity into it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
we talked about these marinades. We talked
Yeah.
about like kind of staying away from all of the sauces.
Hmm.
Look, if you tolerate it and you got an iron stomach,
There you go.
like
More to you.
my
Take some
dad could eat
enzymes.
anything.
Yeah.
Take some enzymes, but
Yeah.
a lot of us are very sensitive.
Yeah.
Now, let's go to these juices, like
Yes.
the coffees,
Let's do it.
the matchas.
Yes.
This is I love going to breakfast places.
Yeah, me
I
too.
love going to brunch places. So what do we need to be looking out for?
Okay, let's start with coffee bars. Let's start with talking about milks. Let's talk about this oat craze that has swept the nation. So the oat milk craze has completely swept the nation. And I know you've spoken about Oatly, and I'm not going to name a bunch of brands today, but I can't compete. My restaurant, the Source Cafe, we have a great coffee program. We make all of our own milks. And when you go into a Starbucks or a corporate coffee place, right? Anywhere. And you get a creamy $4 oat milk latte and it's super, super creamy and it's probably really delicious. First of all, the red flag can be one, it's like $4 to $5. And two, it's really creamy and you can start to ask, what type of milk do you use? Can I see the box? I'm the girl that goes out to eat. I'm like, I need to see the box.
Hmm.
Right, because it's probably has 20 grams of sugar. There's all kinds of conventional white sugar in it, and it's loaded with rapeseed oil, canola oil, and my oat milk's made with hemp seeds and a little olive oil sometimes to bind with the oats because you have to have a little fat, but I can't compete with it. And I've tried like dozens of recipes. I just can't compete with the store-bought
Yeah.
processed oat milk because of how much is processed ingredients are in it. And I went into a local tea place near me, super cute and hipster. And I was like, oh, okay, there's some things on the menu that I can have. I went in and was going to get like an avocado toast and a tea. And I said, oh, what kind of milks do you have? And the two young girls were like, oh, we just carry oat milk. And I said, oh, why is that? They were like, well, it's the healthiest. And I
Mm.
said, oh, can I see your box, please?
Yeah.
And the second ingredient was rapeseed oil. And then, of course, you have non-organic oats, which we know has glyphosate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a
So they
big one.
kind of looked at me and I just explained to them gently why I would just be ordering my tea loose leaf with water. So
Oh,
right.
wow.
And
Yeah.
so the box milks are get wild. And I think another red flag is when you're eating out is, my coffees and teas and other people that put integrity into their coffees and make their own milks. I mean, your latte should be $7 to $8. If you're getting an organic matcha latte with homemade almond milk or oat milk, it should be more expensive.
Right.
So if it's $4.50, then start asking some questions.
Right.
Right.
I see. I
So
see.
it's a red flag and going into the price structure too with juice bars. So I'm really passionate about this because half of my concept are freshly made organic juices. Okay. And I appreciate my competitors that have juice bars that are also charging $12 to $14 for an organic juice because they're using organic produce. And like I said earlier, I mean, just the price of organic celery, right? It's a significantly big difference. So there was a juice bar that I walked into near my dentist office a couple weeks ago, and I had never been there. And the big sign out front, it pulled me in and it said, fresh, cold pressed, alkaline juice. And I was like, oh, great. All right, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to find a little snack. And so I walked in and it smelled great. And I was like, this is cute. And I said, oh, is all of your produce organic? And they said, no, but it's all alkaline. I was like, well, cool. It is all alkaline, right? It's spinach and
It's going to
kale.
be alkaline
It's going to be
anyway.
alkaline,
Yeah.
but brilliant, first of all, because you are almost got me.
Right.
But the juices were $7.50, $8, and we know what's sprayed on our crops, unfortunately.
Right. Right.
And my gut, then I'm on this journey of healing my gut and my hormones, I can't take the risk. So if your juice is $7 and there's a very big nationwide cold pressed juice chain, their juices are $7-ish bucks. Mine are 12 to 14. And on their menu, it says plant-based food with no added sugars or preservatives.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that you're not adding white sugar to my
Right.
juice
Right. Right.
and preservatives to my green
Please
juice.
don't. Yeah.
Please don't.
Yeah. Give me a
Like,
fresh juice.
thank you. Give me a fresh juice, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, it pulls you in. And one of the biggest complaints that I get is like, wow, chef, your food's so expensive and your juices are so expensive. And I can go down the street and get 5 of their juices for the price of 2 of yours. And I'm like, well, you pay for what you get.
Yeah.
And I believe that we pay now or we pay later.
Yeah.
And so those are some other kind of tips of, it's too good to be true kind of when you get a $6 green juice and you can just kind of ask, what's going on with that and ask for the milks and if they're making the milks and
Yeah, this is an important part of this because these are things that people often drink daily or a
daily.
few times a week, right?
Mhm.
I mean, we talked about matcha and coffee. This is an everyday thing for so
It
many
really
people.
is.
Juices maybe a few times a week,
Mhm.
right? Or even every day for some people. So if you're not making this at home and you're buying it, this is essential information. It's essential. You need to be paying attention. What is the quality of the matcha? And then also, what are they putting in the matcha? What is the quality of coffee? And what are they putting in the coffee? And the juices, like you got to get the fresh stuff, and I would actually recommend just doing it at home at that point,
Yeah.
right? Like if you're going up the street and you're getting a no added sugars, no preservatives, alkaline juice,
Yeah.
you're getting got by that
You're
company.
getting got.
You're getting got, right? And I know I share the pain of making juices.
Yeah.
Like it's hard for me to spend 20 minutes like juicing and then cleaning. It is a process.
It is.
But can actually this brings up a good question. If I make a juice, can I seal them with mason jars and keep them up for a few days? Or how long are they really going to last to be fresh juice?
I guess if you have a small cold press juicer at home,
Cold press, yeah.
cold press, then yeah, they'll last for 2 to 3 days. But if it's just your regular old,
The high heat one.
the high heat one,
Centrifuge.
$20, right, exactly. And I mean, it's best to drink that within 30 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're going to store your juices and you're trying to go on a juicing journey, right, and just
Yeah.
make it part of your life, which I actually love,
Me too.
as long as you're not putting like pineapple and apple
Right.
and a banana in there,
Yeah, exactly.
make it
Right.
make it a vegetable
Right.
juice, maybe just a little bit of some stuff
Yeah.
in there. Then get a cold press.
Get
you're
a cold
talking
press.
about.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's worth the investment. If you add up all the times you go out and you buy a juice, just get a cold press. I think they're $200 to $300 online.
Long term,
and
it's good.
long term, it's good. You can seal them in mason jars, and you can have your juices for, juice twice a week. Then set yourself up and do. I mean, the best way for us to take control of our health is for us to prepare our own food.
I got a
Right.
refurbished Omega juicer on
That's nice.
Amazon
Oh,
a few
those are
years ago,
perfect.
and it's great.
Yeah.
And it's cold press, and I
Those are
would
perfect.
keep them in the mason jar. But I got to get back to it. You inspired
Yeah.
me. One of my favorite partners on the show is AG1. It's a nutritional supplement. It's foundational and it supports the whole body health. I drink it every day. I gave AG1 a try because I was tired of taking so many supplements and I really wanted a on-the-go solution, especially that fit my lifestyle, that was going to be able to cover all the nutritional bases, especially for better gut health, better energy, better immune support. I hate taking 1,000 pills. Now, they follow a science-backed formulation of vitamins, probiotics, and whole food source nutrients to offer comprehensive support for the brain, gut, and immune system. Since 2010, they've improved this formula 52 times. That's how much there are in the pursuit of making the best foundational nutritional supplement possible. And they're using high quality ingredients and rigorous purity testing standards. It's very important to get on my show as a sponsor. They got to have good quality products. AG1's one of them. And with one scoop, you get all the nutrients for good gut health support that helps the whole body thrive and cover the nutritional basis. I've been taking it every day. I feel really good. And if you want to try it out and take ownership over your health, start with AG1. Try AG1 and you get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/heal thyself to take ownership over your health and get the most convenient nutritional drink out there. So what are some other important things in the kitchen? What are some, we talked about having a juicer. We could, hack them up and put them in. We got to get cold pressed. For me, I feel like I got a lot of things on my plate. So then I go, okay, I can't spend an hour and a half making food or making a whole meal. How do we begin to simplify our lives with getting really nutritious, healthy foods?
Mhm.
What works for the average
Okay.
behind the stove cooker?
Sure. Okay. Well, one milk hack that I always like to give, if you want to save some money and not go out to buy 5 matchas a week or whatever, is homemade nut milk is super easy without having to soak and strain and have a nut bag because that gets overwhelming. So go to the store, find any jar of organic nut butter. It could be seed butter, it could be tahini, cashews, walnut butter. throw it in your blender, about a fourth a cup with 3 cups of water, a pinch of salt, blend it. You've got milk. It's so easy.
Wow.
That's like my favorite hack is taking a seed or nut butter, and then you can get creative. You can make a cinnamon cacao one. I mean, it takes 3 minutes. You're putting cacao, cinnamon water, and some nut butter. You don't have to get the almonds, soak them overnight, strain them. That, it's like a whole thing. So that's like, yeah.
Pause before you even
Yeah.
go. Okay, I'm spending 7, 14, 20, $28 to $35 a week on almond milks.
There you go. Yeah.
Like realistically.
Yeah.
I go through like 4 jars or
Okay.
5 jars.
Okay.
Or not jars, like just like bottles.
Bottles, yeah.
Because it's so crazy. Like it looks like a lot. I make one smoothie and half is gone.
It's not. Yeah.
Right? And I make smoothies for myself every morning. So you're telling me I could go get a nut butter and mix it up with the recipe you just told us.
Literally, literally, if you want to be really simple, it's nut butter and water. Blend it. Bam.
And just blend it, and you have milk.
You have milk. Like it's so easy, and you can have fun. I mean, make a walnut milk, make a tahini milk, super fun, right?
Hazelnut milk with a little cinnamon on it.
A little cinnamon. You can make your Nutella milk, right? Hazelnuts with cacao. Put a little maple in there if you want to jazz it up. You can also use it for your oatmeals and your cereals. And I mean, it's a game changer and that's easy. That takes 5 minutes. You can make a huge big thing of it.
Yeah, I know you were going into everything, but I had to stop you. And I usually don't interrupt guests, but this really got me, this almond milk one.
Yeah.
Or milk anything.
It's one of my favorite hacks to share.
What any other hacks that come to mind?
Okay. So I'm a big fan of one-pot meals because sometimes you don't have time to. And so I like to, in the morning, prepare, or like maybe the night before, if you eat meat or fish, you can also use tempeh, but chop up a bunch of vegetables, and let's just use fish. I'll put some wild salmon with some chopped up fennel and maybe tomatoes and kale, squeeze some lemon, and I'll have it ready for myself when I get home. And then that pot is ready to just throw in the oven. And I can give recipes. I can share stuff if people reach out. But one pot meals are really, really easy. And then also, I love having organic frozen vegetables in the freezer and even as a chef, people are always like, oh, you probably have this big, beautiful, elaborate kitchen and you make all this sexy food all the time. And then I come home and I was like, oh, I have been cooking and feeding people all day and I have no food at my house. So what can I make that's really quick, right? And so I love grabbing a bag of, like, let's just say butternut squash. It's already peeled, it's frozen, it's organic. I throw it in a pot with a little water and I steam it 8 minutes or something, throw it in my Vitamix and drizzle because these are the 3 things you need to amp up your food, the flavor of your food.
Oh, okay? Yeah. Tell me, please.
Because now we've got this plain vegetable, whether it be steamed cauliflower, broccoli, butternut squash. If you want a quick, creamy butternut squash puree or soup, I've got my steamed veggies in the blender, and you need fat, acid, and salt. Okay. So acid, pick anything, lemon, orange juice, apple cider vinegar. I love sherry vinegar. And so I'll put a little bit of sherry, definitely salt. And then while your blender is blending, drizzle some nice olive oil in there, and it gives it that quote unquote creamy flavor. And I love serving that. That's like a quick, easy. That's easy. You can make it thick. It can be a puree. Now I sear my piece of salmon. I put it right on top of the butternut squash puree. The whole dinner took me probably 8 minutes to make. 10 minutes. So it's good. And I have a lot of purees in my fridge. And I want to share some of my favorite spices to use with food.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. So smoked paprika and cumin are 2 of my favorite combos. And I get like a little crazy at my house because I'll saute my bison with smoked paprika and cumin. And then I'm steaming some plain cod in water. And so you just add a little smoked paprika to that with cumin. And then what do you need? You need acid and you need salt. A little bit of salt and a little bit of sherry or orange on top of that fish. You just took something really bland and boring and you brought it to life. And a good rule of thumb when you're in the kitchen and something you're cooking and something turns out like a little bit more bland, acid and salt. Like that's really the first 2 things you need to look for. Like it doesn't need to get complicated. Yeah.
So I often have that moment where I sit down and I'm like, I'm ready to eat the meal that I just made for myself. And I'm like, this is bland.
It's bland.
So immediately reach for a lemon, drizzle some salt on it.
I'm telling you, if you just stick to acid and salt, your bland dish just now is
Up
amped
leveled.
up, literally up leveled. And so roasted carrots, you have your roasted carrots, they come out of the oven, they're roasted in avocado oil. They're like, God, this is like, I wanted this to be a little bit more sexy, right?
Yeah.
Drizzle a little bit of sherry, a little orange juice, some salt if you want to get fancy, a little sprinkle of smoked paprika. And now you have a smoked paprika, orange sherry roasted carrot.
Sexy
You
food.
you literally just sex that up in
I
like
love
30
that.
seconds,
I
right?
love that. I love
And
that.
like have fun in the kitchen. And like that's where you start to like play and you can stumble a little and be like, oh, well, or you make a mistake and all of a sudden it becomes this like new favorite, creation. I always say that my happy accidents are like my best creations.
It's funny. It brings up the happy accident that my dad had when we were little. But my mom was the dominant cook in the
Yeah.
house, right? But I don't know where she was. She was gone for like 2-3 days. I think she went with her family on some trip or something.
Yeah.
My dad was responsible for cooking. And I'll never forget, he made chicken and mistaked the spice for cinnamon.
Okay.
And we had cinnamon chicken.
Oh, cinnamon chicken.
And cinnamon chicken. And I remember I was like, Dad, I don't know if this tastes right. And he's like, no, I put the, I think he thought it was paprika.
Yeah.
And it just shows like like this is generally speaking, but a man in the kitchen who's not used to cooking,
Yeah.
the things that we do. And I oftentimes will be like, I look at all the spices and I'll be like, what do I use?
Yeah.
Where do I start? Like in front of me is a veggie burger grilling, and I'm like, what do I put on this? Do I put
Yeah.
anything more? Right?
Yeah.
So you're saying paprika, cumin,
And orange is like the best combo.
like literally just like shaved orange?
Yeah, or just orange juice. Mhm.
Orange juice. Okay.
Yeah, it's like the best combo. Fish, tofu, poultry, meat, vegetables.
Just
It's-
as like a little saucing it up,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we should all have some sort of blender Vitamix type situation.
Yes, I'm a fan. I've owned, I feel like dozens and dozens and dozens over the year as a chef with all my restaurants.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I mean, you can turn anything bland. I mean, say you roast your carrots and you over roast your carrots and they're just like super soggy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm going to save this really quick. I'm going to throw my roasted soggy carrots, or maybe they're 2 days old out of the fridge. You're like, this is just not hitting it tonight, right? You're going to throw it in the Vitamix. Maybe you can add a little bit of water with olive oil, or you could do coconut milk. You could make a thick puree. You could make a soup. So it's just, yeah.
And then you throw that on to whatever you're
right.
eating.
You could drizzle it on top of rice,
Right,
quinoa. You
okay,
could
I see,
use it as a sauce for your chicken, for your fish, for another grilled vegetable. Maybe you grilled some broccoli or you roasted broccoli. Well, roasted broccoli over some pureed, beautiful coconut milk, cumin, carrot puree. I mean, that's delicious with some pumpkin seeds on top.
How did I learn so much so fast?
Yeah,
This is crazy.
right?
Like, yeah, I feel like all my life I was wondering how to make my quinoa good,
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and this is really powerful stuff.
Yeah.
So listen, I got a little sweet tooth sometimes.
Okay.
I'll come to your restaurant, right? I'll sit
Yeah.
down, I'll have my meal, and then I'll get up and I'll start looking around. I'll sort of dilly-dally to the fridge there. I'll start looking at the menu. I'm like, what do they got? Do they have a little like sweet treat over here? You got these little awesome balls,
Yeah.
like protein balls, but they're sweet. How do we make a healthy sweet treat instead of buying, just a bar of chocolate from Whole Foods and just
Right.
nipping at that after meals? Is there any quick, healthy hack that is going to satisfy everyone who has that little sweet tooth?
Okay, so the first thing that comes to mind, which this is something my mom and I do, is we go get the big, juicy medjool dates. Okay, those babies are like candy. I like to keep them in the refrigerator. If you keep them in the freezer and you take a bite of it, it almost tastes like a caramel without doing anything to it.
Freezer.
Okay. So, but what I like to do is I like to slice them open, take the seed out, and stuff a little bit of either tahini in there or another nut butter. And then there's clean paleo chocolate out there, like Q chocolate. I love them, right? They're mixed with maple. And I'll heat up a little bit of chocolate and I'll maybe dip
it.
the tahini date into the chocolate. You can pre-do those and have a dozen of them in the refrigerator. And when you need a little sweet treat, then you've got 2 of those. They're very fast. You can even put like a nut in the middle of the date and dip it in some
Right.
chocolate. Put a little coconut on top. That's super fun if you're entertaining. It looks like you kind of took all this time and it's really easy.
And it's fast.
And it's fast.
And look, you looking at the person who doesn't cook. I actually have done a recipe like this.
Okay, nice.
My friend and I threw a Valentine's Day dinner for all of our friends. And she was the chef-ish. She just loved cooking.
Yeah.
And she had me on date duty.
Oh, nice.
So I remember we put like all this chocolate and I was dipping it and we put it in the freezer, dipping
Oh,
it, putting it.
so
I'll tell you right now, it took, first of all, it was fast.
yeah.
Second of all, it tastes so
It's
good.
so
People were like, it's
satiating.
satiating. You know, you get some fiber from the
Oh,
date
yeah.
too, which is great.
Oh,
But
it's a
wow,
crowd pleaser.
so much better than like, you know, going out or like ordering like a piece of cake or
Yeah.
something or whatever we're looking for, desserts.
Yeah.
Such an easy one that we can have in our home.
It's so easy. And if you're into meal prepping, because that's another way to take control of your health and also prep yourself for the week. So then when you get home at night, you're starving, you're like, what am I supposed to eat? This is so overwhelming. So I love teaching about meal prepping and planning, but you could add your almond milk, some balls, right? I've got easy recipes for balls. They take probably 20 minutes to make. I've taught them to kids. Now you've got all your balls rolled up. They're in the fridge. Maybe you stuff and you do some dates. You've got your dates in there. And then I've got an almond butter or peanut butter cookie that's literally 3 ingredients. It's coconut sugar, peanut butter, and an egg. Like that's it. You mix it up in a bowl, you scoop it, and you bake it. That alone, anybody that's a non-baker and a non-cook can make those. I could teach it to my nephew, right? You could prep those at the beginning of the week, or that's something you could do on the fly. I mean, the batter takes less than 10 minutes to make if you have the ingredients at your house. Bake them off. They bake for 6 minutes, and now you have a fresh cookie.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. I also like always having frozen chopped bananas and baggies in my freezer to make an ice cream or a nice cream. And that's really easy too. Frozen banana with almond butter, cinnamon, and a pinch of salt. You do have to have a nice blender like the Vitamix and a tamper.
Yep.
You don't really have to add any liquid. So you've got 3 ingredients. I'm telling you, if you're a peanut butter banana guy, if it's peanut butter, sea salt, and banana, that's all you need. It sounds so simple, but I've actually been able to serve this to my nephews to sub like their junky ice cream.
Yeah.
And then you can jazz it up. You can add some coconut flakes or nuts on top or make a sundae or drizzle some healthy chocolate on top. Yeah, these are all things you can have in your cupboard, right? Ready to go just in case.
I love that. And what a way to satisfy a child's sweet tooth instead of giving them, you know, the carton of Ben and Jerry's.
This is perfect.
Or again, the slice of cake we were talking about. It's like you can have that for your kids. And what I'm hearing is all of this doesn't take a lot of time.
It does not. These are things I'm saying today that do not take a lot of time.
Right. So mamas, dads, whoever needs to can get it done, right? And last it for the week. You're saying you could put it in the refrigerator, you could put it in the freezer, keep it good. I got the bag of bananas in the freezer all the time because I put them in my smoothies.
Exactly.
Right. So easy.
Yeah.
What, you know, I love that we went from restaurants seamlessly into these hacks, right?
Yes.
I personally love making healthy elixirs.
Mm.
I like making just drinks that I know have some nourishing benefit.
Yes.
Do you make any of these at home? And if so, do you have a recipe? Easy peasy recipe.
An easy peasy. Well, I have one for digestion I make at home that's coconut water and aloe vera juice with a little bit of chia seed and some essential oil. I love that. And so I can share a recipe for that. I also am a big fan of my sparkling water for like a little bit of like a mocktail elixir.
Yeah.
And so it's a freshly juiced ginger and lime with honey and sparkling water and mint. Like that's really yummy. And then I'm into my mushrooms. I know we're into all the functional mushrooms. And so I love blending that up with a little bit of milk and maybe even some turmeric and some honey or maple. And I'll make a batch of that with my homemade nut milk and already have it ready. And then I'll steam that up at night. And it's more of like a warm elixir at night.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
So I like an after dinner, like a warm, what am I going to sip on?
What are you going to sip on?
To really relax me.
So I would make something with whatever your favorite functional mushrooms are, your homemade milk now that you're going to be making. You put your cinnamon in there, your turmeric. I put a pinch of black pepper to bring out the absorption for the turmeric.
Right.
You can put honey or maple in there, and I blend that up, and then it just sits as like a turmeric milk in the fridge, where all I have to do now is put it in my tea kettle, and I've got this really great.
I see.
Right. You can also do it with raw cacao. So I love a raw cacao drink at the end of the night, right? I know we love our raw cacao.
Yeah.
And so I'll make that too. Maybe I'll put raw cacao, cinnamon, honey, maca, tocos, mesquite, all the things. I'll blend that up and make this beautiful cacao milk. And you can use that for your coffee, obviously, but put that in the tea kettle and warm that baby up. I mean, now you really feel like you're getting like something nourishing, satisfying. It's
Sounds very
warming.
grounding, this
It's
one,
so
the cacao one,
grounding.
right? So I would say everyone, when your like head is like a balloon just
Yes,
floating, right?
perfect.
Those days are the days you have that
Perfect.
cacao recipe.
Yes.
But I like the digestion one again. What was
Yes.
that? It was water, chia.
So do equal parts of aloe vera juice and equal parts of coconut water. So you've got, say, 1 cup of coconut water, 1 cup of aloe vera, and then put 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. Now, the sweetness is going to come from a little bit of the coconut water, right? And then I love essential oils. So I'll put either a squeeze of lemon juice in it or just like 1 drop of lemon oil. And it's
Mm.
just, you can make a batch of that too. I sell that at the source, actually. It's one of our favorite. It's called the Fountain of
Oh,
Youth.
I saw it with the
Yeah, yeah.
chia's floating.
Oh, and that's a good snack too if you don't really want to eat or you're doing something with juice that day or you're trying to do more of a liquid diet. Now
Yeah,
you're getting a little bit of fiber and protein and you're feeling a bit more satiated
right,
because of
the
the
chia.
chias.
Yeah.
But talk about great for elimination and bloating and constipation. I mean, I've always got aloe on hand with my chia and coconut water
You do.
and
Okay.
hydration. Like it hits all the spots for me.
Listen, I don't
Yeah,
even know what else to talk about. We talked about so much
I
and in
know.
such a short amount of time,
Yeah.
right? We talked about this restaurant industry, the things that we really need to be looking for,
Hmm.
right? The greenwashing, the words that we see,
Yeah.
right? Also, how to ask for things.
How to ask for things.
What do we do when we sit down and we go,
Hmm.
okay, wait, hold on, I want to protect myself.
Yes.
You even told us how to look for chicken and how to look for fish and how to look for eggs. We moved into all of these hacks.
Yes.
What, coffee and matcha we talked about,
Yeah.
moved into these hacks. Is there anything that I'm missing that was really weighing on you that you really wanted to cover today?
I think the one thing that I do want to say is like life is about balance. And so we can't live in a bubble.
Right.
And I do know as someone that had struggled for 3 decades with eating disorder, disordered eating, that I would not go out to eat because I was so terrified of eating a non-organic food or a seed oil or whatever it was. This was years ago. I've healed that relationship, but we have to mention that, we can't have a perfectionistic mindset when it comes to eating, right? Our bodies are resilient. And so I like the 80-20 rule, like 20% of the time, a couple things might float into your body that might not be aligned, and that's okay. For me, I like to talk about blessing my food, thanking my body when I eat my food, and saying, thank you, body, for taking care of what you need and getting rid of the rest. Because I know if someone's listening and they do struggle with disordered eating, it could be very manic and this could be a very triggering conversation. It's like, well, what am I supposed to eat and order and do? And it's like, you're doing the best. Everyone's doing the best they can. And it is about balance. I think today was really exciting to finally shed some light on this of really just inspiring and educating the consumer, right?
Mm.
And catching those sneaky, tricky buzzwords that even get us. And I'm in the business, for God's sake, and it gets me all the time. So I hope people are feeling more inspired and refreshed
Yeah,
and
empowered.
empowered. And really, I know something that's really hard to do is meal prep. And I think we've talked about that today, is starting to, if you're on a health journey and you're wondering, how do I take control of my health? What we put in our bodies is one of the first things. And so you can start to make your own food at home and then go into all the other
I
things.
love that. I love it. I
You
love it.
know,
I love it. You have a book out, right?
I do.
What's the name of the
It's
book?
called Sexy Nourishing Food to Fuel Your Body, Mind, and Soul. And for me, the book is 90% plant-based. I have one section that's called Bison, Eggs, and Fish. And the only reason I decided to have it primarily be plants is because we're also fiber deficient.
Yeah.
I think I don't know the percentage. I heard a while ago, 3% of Americans eat enough fiber. And I also want to change the stigma around the word healthy, that people think that it's steamed tofu and broccoli and they're going to feel deprived and depleted and it's going to be so bland. And so I wanted to also show how to make plants sexy and beautiful. And you can add that into accompany your roasted fish or your meat or whatever you're having, right? And so there's a ton of elixirs, smoothies, smoothie bowls made out of vegetables in the book. There's a glossary at the end that describes all the adaptogens, talk about sprouting and soaking your own milks, or seeds for milk. So it goes, it's everything. So you can feel great in your
Beautiful
body.
too.
Yeah.
Beautiful pictures. I
Thank
mean,
you.
like what I do is I look for the beautiful picture that is
Yeah.
like going to catch my eye. I go, I
Yes.
want this smoothie bowl today, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So everyone go get that book. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a staple in the kitchen. Go get that book.
Yeah.
And if you are in Hermosa Beach,
Yes.
you're going to stop by the source,
Come and say hi.
say a big hello, get a nice seat in the sun, eat some food, and
Yeah.
then go to the beach after.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Chef
You're
Amber.
welcome.
Your passion comes through your pores. We feel it. I
Yeah.
feel it sitting
Thank
close to you.
you.
I know the viewers and listeners are going through the mic, through the wires, all the way down up to
Yes.
their ears, and they're feeling it too. Thank you so much. I really look forward to seeing you do this on other podcasts
Yes.
and really give the world what we need, and that's healing and health and awareness. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.